You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't KIEQ on the mic. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't KIEQ on the mic. You can go and subscribe, cause I be on it right. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't KIEQ on the mic.
This move would complete the Chicago Bears. Hey, what's going on, Bears fans? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of KIEQ on the Mic, the podcast all about the Chicago Bears. As always, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you also do me a huge favor and like today's video of KIEQ on the Mic. That would help the channel out wonders. Once again, thank you guys all so much for all the love and support you continue to show KIEQ on the Mic. So, Bears fans, the Chicago Bears addressed many different needs during the 2024 NFL Draft, including drafting edge rusher Austin Booker out of Kansas. And obviously, you guys know this, Booker feels a major need for the Chicago Bears D-line. He's 6'4", 240 pounds, and he's truly a unique prospect with tremendous upside when you look at his game. Not a lot of playing time in college, but he definitely excelled in the limited role that he had, in the limited playing time he had while at Kansas. And crazy enough, there's a lot of analysts out there that are comparing Austin Booker to Max Crosby, which if he ends up being Max Crosby, this Chicago Bears defensive line with Montez Sweat and Austin Booker would be absolutely insane. But when you look at a guy like Austin Booker, he can beat you in a variety of different ways. He can beat you with speed. He can beat you with power. He can beat you with finesse. But I still think he needs one more year of development before he becomes an impact starter on the Chicago Bears defensive line. And to me personally, Bears fans, the Chicago Bears still have that massive need along the defensive line while they allow Austin Booker to develop into hopefully that impact starter. And the one player I would love to see Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears sign and bring him back into the fold for the Chicago Bears defensive line is edge rusher Unique Ngakoue. Ryan Poles was actually on the Pat McAfee show yesterday, and he was basically just talking about how they haven't shut the door on adding more free agents to the Chicago Bears roster. And I feel like this would be a solid move for the Chicago Bears to bring back Unique Ngakoue on a cheap contract for the Chicago Bears. Ngakoue is obviously coming off a season-ending ankle injury last season with the Chicago Bears. But the good news that in a recent video that Ngakoue actually posted, it showed him working out and getting back to full strength. And he looks good, Bears fans. This is a good sight to see for Ngakoue. This is a guy that was definitely heating up at the end of last season for the Chicago Bears. In 13 games, he had 4 sacks, 26 quarterback hurries, 4 quarterback hits, and 34 total pressures. And there's a lot of Bears fans, surprisingly, that are out there saying, we don't want Ngakoue back. He wasn't very good. The guy only had 4 sacks. But Bears fans, let me tell you guys this. He knows the defense already. He would be a really good mentor for Austin Booker. And most importantly, this is a guy that really started to heat up at the end of the season, especially when Montez Sweat came into the fold. So personally, I am a huge advocate of bringing Unique Ngakoue back on a cheap deal for the Chicago Bears defensive line. And Bears fans, could you imagine a Chicago Bears defensive line with Montez Sweat, DeMarcus Walker, Unique Ngakoue, and Austin Booker, a young guy that can learn from all these guys and possibly be a good rotational piece in year one for the Chicago Bears defensive line? This would be a really fun defensive line to watch for the Chicago Bears. And once again, I would bring back Unique Ngakoue on a 1-year deal to complete this Chicago Bears defensive line. I personally feel that Unique Ngakoue has so much left in the tank. And I want to give a huge shout out to Nick from Just Another Year Chicago. He actually tweeted earlier today that Unique Ngakoue has actually been training at Hallis Hall in the Chicago Bears facility all the way up until he couldn't be a Bear no longer, getting better, getting that ankle right. And obviously you see these videos that Unique Ngakoue is posting. He's obviously been hearing a lot of the Bears fans, a lot of the critics saying that he is done. There's no way that he's coming back from this injury. But once again, Unique Ngakoue looks good. He looks like he's trying to prove something. And I feel like this would be a high reward, low risk move for the Chicago Bears. Once again, I think he has a lot left in the tank. And I believe personally that big things are coming for a guy like Unique Ngakoue. I think he could complete this defensive line. He would be a good mentor for Austin Booker. I think him and Montez Sweat would start right where they left off at the end of last season. And I would definitely be a huge advocate for bringing Unique Ngakoue back to Chicago on a cheap 1-year deal. Overall, Bears fans, I am really happy that the Chicago Bears found a way to trade back up in the 2024 NFL Draft and snag a guy like Austin Booker, a player that has a really high ceiling. And, if he's developed the right way and he could reach those Max Crosby potential, which I know it's going to be huge shoes to fill, but if those are the comparisons that he's already getting, he hasn't even played one snap in the National Football League. To me, as a coach, that would be super exciting to be able to try to develop a guy and turn him into a Max Crosby, because that would be huge for the Chicago Bears defensive line. But I still would love for the Chicago Bears to add a veteran player at the edge position. And even though I am a huge advocate to bring back a guy like Unique Ngakoue, the Chicago Bears actually have options. For example, Emmanuel Ogbah, a guy that's 30 years old, stands at 6'4", 269 pounds. He had 6 sacks, 11 quarterback hurries, 19 total pressures in 15 games last season. You can also look at a guy like Carl Lawson. He's 28 years old, turns 29 in June. He stands at 6'2", 260 pounds. Carl Lawson definitely saw some playing time decrease with the New York Jets last season, but he was a really productive player back in 2022. 8 sacks, 25 quarterback hurries, 49 total pressures. And then the last guy that's on my mind is a guy like Bud Dupree, 31 years old, so he is kind of up there, stands at 6'4", 267 pounds. But last year was also really productive for the Atlanta Falcons defense. 6.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 28 quarterback hurries, and 38 total pressures. I feel like adding any of these guys would be huge for the development of Austin Booker, and it wouldn't force Austin Booker to be that impact player right away. Obviously, we are hoping that we can develop Austin Booker the right way. He can turn into that Max Crosby type of player, but I feel like having a veteran in there alongside Montez Sweat would not only be huge for Austin Booker's development, but it'd also be huge to complete the Chicago Bears defensive line and to get after the quarterback. These are just a couple of edge rushers that are on top of my mind, guys that Ryan Poles and Chicago Bears could add to the Chicago Bears defensive line alongside Montez Sweat. But like I said, Bears fans, I am totally okay with Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears bringing back a guy like Unique Ngakoue, a guy that already knows the defense, a guy that was heating up at the end of the season. He already has a huge connection with a guy like Montez Sweat. I feel like him and Montez Sweat will be a deadly duo for the Chicago Bears defensive line this season if they do bring back a guy like Unique Ngakoue. And I think Ngakoue would also be a really good mentor for a guy like Austin Booker. So to me personally, it makes too much sense to bring back Unique Ngakoue on a cheap 1-year deal for the Chicago Bears defensive line. So Bears fans, before I let you guys go, let me ask you guys this. Would you guys be okay with the Chicago Bears signing Unique Ngakoue to a cheap 1-year deal to bring him back to Chicago? Let me know down below in the comment section. But as always, make sure you continue to hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms, and make sure you share this episode of KIEQ on the Mic with every single Bears fan that you know. And once again, please do me a huge favor and hit the like button on today's video as well. That would help the channel out so much. But other than that, I'll be back for all new Bears podcasts right here on KIEQ on the Mic. Thanks, guys, and as always, bear down.
You've been listening to KIEQ on the Mic, a podcast all about the Chicago Bears. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Thanks, guys, and bear down.